Hello, everyone, and welcome to this podcast series dedicated to the ninth edition of IT Trends. And every year, the NoviPro Group published last June its annual report on the state of the IT market in Canada. Throughout this series, we'll analyze key statistics and take a closer look at where the market stands 6 months after the report's release, which trends, challenges, and priorities have evolved since then. For this fourth episode, I'm joined by my colleague, Leuven Alfonso, General Manager at Blair Technology Solutions, to discuss the impact and influence of IT. Hi, Leuven. The report highlights a significant gap between how IT leaders and leaders of other business units perceive the role of IT. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. Hi, Robert. Uh, Great to be here. So the the gap that the IT Trends report identified really comes down to two or three reasons. So one is the number of IT leaders that were interviewed was two-thirds of the total number of respondents versus non-IT. And what that really says is, there's more work to be done for IT to have a place at the table with the non-IT leaders in an organization, so that they can be part of the decision making when it comes to strategy. Now, having said that, there are some industries and there are some company profiles where it's already happening. So large companies, as an example, in the financial space, IT is very much front and center, part of the decision and strategizing process. Uh, from a from and when you look at large companies versus small, you're probably going to see small companies tend not to see IT as strategic, mostly as a cost center, mostly as a function, and that's one of the other reasons why you're probably seeing that gap. And the third is, certain industries don't view IT the same way as other industries do. So, um, manufacturing, consumer goods manufacturers, things like that, don't view technology the same way financial services does. So, um, those are the three reasons why you see the gap and why it's increasing.
Okay, thanks. And how does this actually play out with your clients? Who ultimately has the final say?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, the business leaders in any organization set budgets, determine where their focus is and what the priorities are, where they're going to spend their money. With my clients, it kind of follows the same trends. The larger customers, IT is at the table. IT is technology is the key driver for their businesses. So IT has a say in how they want to spend their money. Smaller organizations, IT is a function. It's an operating expense. It's a line item in a budget. The key critical areas of spend are identified, but I don't think they really are involved in deciding, what the business strategy is and how money's spent that way. So they're just, again, they're viewed purely as a function.
Okay, thank you. Now, once again this year, we're seeing a decline in the perception of IT as an investment, something that creates added value. It's dropped from 53% in 2020 to 38% in 2025. Does that worry you? And what's really happening behind these numbers?
Yeah, so it doesn't really worry me because I can see again within our own clients that IT continues to be a significant part of any company's budget. At the end of the day, technology is what is driving um, innovation and efficiency, and it is key in driving business growth. So it continues to be a significant capital investment for any organization. Again, like I mentioned before, you're seeing that trend more in larger companies where that is the case. Smaller companies, obviously they don't have as much money as enterprise as the large enterprise organizations do. So they're more careful in how they spend it. IT most times isn't going to get um, um, a significant slice of that pie. They're going to be spending money on growing the business, adding to their to their if it's a manufacturer adding to their production lines and things like that. So, so again, I'm not really concerned. The investments will continue and they will grow. And what you're seeing in the report, again, likely relates back to the difference between company size and who was responding to those questions.
Okay, makes sense. And finally, for my last question, 6 months after its release, what's your overall assessment of the IT trends?
So you have to remember the IT trends that was released earlier this year. The questionnaires that went out late last year. Um, there were significant world events as it relates to political and economic events that took place early in the year. So a lot of the answers that were provided, if they were asked again in the first quarter, likely would be different. But for the most part, I see alignment in people's priorities and challenges and concerns, and where where they want to spend their money, and where they're what priorities they're going to tackle this year. So it's for the most part in line with a lot of the questions that the report asks. In other areas, like I said, world events from earlier this year changed how people's perceptions are, and you're probably going to see those responses next year, more in line with what's happening in our world. So
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I guess thank you, Leuven, for agreeing to answer my questions.
no problem. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And thank everyone for listening to this podcast. The IT Trends is still available for free download. So if you want to learn more, visit blairtechnology.com.
Great. Thanks, Robert.
You're welcome.